Welcome back. This is Grishma Tamang, and today I'll be sharing my experience on awakening. Before that, let's recap on the last few videos. The first video being about bliss, our natural state. It's a state which is unconditioned. The second video we talked about why we can't get to that natural state, even though it is our natural state, and what brings it down. And we talked about the ego and the nervous system and how it puts conditions and that lowers our consciousness frequency. Okay. This video we're talking about awakening. Okay, so yeah, awakening, big, getting deep now. So I know you're ready. So awakening, it's not as big as a lot of circles, and with all due respect, of course, it's a great thing to have that awakening, but it is really our natural thing. It's not anything that we gained. It's just something that we uncovered. It's something that we eventually lost during our lifetime, but we just got it back. So really, if you ask me, we didn't really get anything or achieve anything. It's just getting rid of the things that blocked it. Okay, so of course this realization is what the awakening is, and what blocking all that was the conditions, the illusions, of separation and all that. So we'll get into it. So awakening, of course, it really helps once you have that realization, and then you can really see through the conditions as illusions. You also see that these conditions are it's only temporary. Okay, it's never permanent. So even if it does happen, it will go away. It'll be fine. And also that everything, you, me, everything is really coming from the one nature. Okay, our true nature. So these are some of the realizations, but of course I'll start with the basics. Of course, this is I'll do my best to explain over this video. As you can see, I'm not a professional in this. I'm just trying to help with what I can. But my book I've written with all my heart and as much detail as possible. So if you want more deeper information and knowledge on awakening, please read my book, Bliss in the City. It's a step-by-step guide to final enlightenment, and of course living with unconditional bliss in the modern world. Okay, so before we dive into this, the reason why we want to get awakening in the first place is so we can return back into our true state, our natural state of that unconditional bliss state. Okay, which is amazing. Okay, like that is the end goal. That's nirvana. There is the living with God. All the different words. The Tao itself, and all. There's so many respected religious institutions and of course spiritual circles that point to this truth. Of course, it's a different version, but they're all pointing to the same truth. Okay, so awakening. Okay, the first thing we need to know about awakening is, first, we really got to understand ourselves. We really got to see, like, when we think of ourselves, of course, we're thinking about our identity. Like, for example, Grishma Tamang is my name. I have this body, this form. Okay, but let's go beyond that. Okay, let's go deeper. Okay, what is this made out of? Okay, what is everything made out of? If you think about it, whether it's myself, the house, the materials, this whole reality as we see it, what is it really made out of? Okay, so we know, and let's go back to science in this, because of course that really helps us point that way. So based on science, it's made out of particles. Okay, all the different particles creates this form. Okay, now what makes those particles? Let's go even beyond that. What makes the particles? Okay, again, going back to science, all particles are made out of vibrational energy. Okay, vibrational energy. So from this vibrational energy comes particles. From particles comes different forms. My forms, your form, the trees, everything. Okay, so essentially, understanding that is that everything arises from a vibrational energy. Okay, now this is interesting because if you and of course please do your research into it, look it up, but vibrational energies, they are cyclic, meaning that it goes up and down, and then it keeps repeating itself endlessly. So if you really grasp on that every existence, everything as we know arises from the vibrational energy, which also by nature is oscillating and repeating in cyclic. What that means is that anything that's created out of the vibration, so arises out of a vibration, such as the particles that our bodies are, these are also in the same nature of up and down and cyclic. Means that it has a beginning and an end. So what that tells us is that all forms, first of all, it's not permanent. Okay? They're all temporary. This form is temporary. Your form, everything we see, it will eventually have an end. Okay, that sounds a bit hard to hear at first because it comes to an end, but there is a beauty to this. Okay, the beauty to that is, yes, it comes to an end, but also think about this: the vibrational energy, what everything arises from, if that is the source of all the things that arises, it means that you, me, also coming from that vibrational energies, the trees, the whole world, we are coming out of the same source. Okay, so we are essentially one with just different layout of the particles to create the form that we're in. Okay, now it's very interesting because family members, we have this great love and great affection for family members because we realize that we share the same blood, right? We share the same blood. It arises even though we have different particles and different forms to create that certain individual. It arises, we share the same blood, and yet we have so much deep compassion and love for family members. But if you look into it, go even deeper, beyond blood, the vibration energy that we all arise, that even the blood is created from that vibrational energies, blood to particles to all the cells and so essentially you, me, we are all family. Okay, we're all one. Okay, and what that also means is, of course, there is that oscillation that eventually everything comes and goes, even the cells in our bodies, everything, mitosis, all these different fancy scientific words, all point to the same truth, that what we are, our true nature, is the vibrational energy that is within all of us. Okay, all of us. And even when the form dissolves and the form comes at its end, yet the vibrational energy is always there. Okay, it's always there. We are the vibrational energies. Okay, now the reason we're able to perceive reality as it is because of our a nervous system and a consciousness. Okay, so once that vibrational energy goes into a form, and we're so grateful. I can't talk about other animals or other species because I'm not in the consciousness. But as a human being, with the human being consciousness, I can see that the vibrational energy comes within us, and based on that vibrational energy is what we perceive, and our perceptions and all that. In the second video, we talked about how the conditions lower the vibration frequency. This video, I'm trying to say that the vibrational energy is our true nature. So it comes in within us in our form. Now, based on how it gets filtered, okay, the filtering is the tricky part, because now we realize that we are the vibrational frequency, and yet all the forms are impermanent. Okay, they're only temporary until the vibration repeats itself. That's the truth. But yet we're all arising from the same vibration frequency that goes beyond time and space. Yep. Once that energy goes into a certain individual, like for example myself, when the energy goes inside me, the vibrational, my mind, the nervous system will filter that vibrational energy. Okay, now who filters that? It's the ego. Okay, so the ego, based on the conditions of my form, of what I need to meet, the expectations, it filters that and creates into an identity. So I'm living as a consciousness, as a human being, but based on the ego. So the ego is what really driving me. It's like, imagine I'm a puppet, I've got the strings. The ego is actually playing and moving all the strings, because it's sort of hijacked that vibrational energy of our true nature, is filtered it, so the ego has control of the energy, and I'm moving around and I'm the puppet thinking that I am Grishma Tamang and I'm doing everything, but in reality the ego is controlling the puppet. So I'm not living my true self, in that state. I'm doing everything thinking that I'm doing what I think is right, but understanding the awakening is the fact that we are not who we are. This is identity by the ego, because of the conditions. Who we really are, in a sense, is the vibrational energy that everything is arising from. And once you really deeply grasp this realization and understanding, you'll see that whenever a certain condition comes, you can see straight away, you can see that, okay, this condition, for example, it's, first of all, it's also filtered by the ego. So if it's filtered and it's creating a condition, it's an illusion. Okay, it's not real. It is not real. So what I am doing, or what I think I must do, is filtered, and that's why there's a condition. Okay, so it is not, whatever something happens, a bad thing happens, it's a filtered perception, and it is not the true thing. Okay, it is an illusion. So once you see that, you see that most of the things in life, in fact everything is that we see as a form is an illusion. Okay, and there's big liberation to that, because you can go and live your life, and it doesn't matter if someone calls you names or says that you are not this or you're not that, because you see that as, maybe that other person is, their perception of you is also being filtered by the consciousness. Okay, so the consciousness level is varied, sees us as a different way. We may see them as a different way as well, but once you understand the truth and the awakening, that this is just a filter by the ego that's clouding your perception and the way you're seeing things. So once you understand and you really feel that that realization, whenever the ego tries to grasp on the situation, you're able to quickly tell it, oh, hang on a second, that is not the case. This is not the case. So when that happens, the ego does not have the power or even it doesn't need to help you to get that vibration energy to turn it into a condition. It doesn't need to, because the ego is there to help you, is like a friend. But when you are totally content with the situation, it doesn't need to. So that means you're free from the puppet strings. You can do what you want to do and live your life the best way. There is no such thing as best or good or bad. You just live your life. Everything in that unconditional state of bliss, everything is equal. Everything is the same. And once that ego doesn't have that hold on your vibrational energy, that means it can't lower your consciousness frequency. It can't lower it, so it's always at the top. And in the previous videos we talked that if it's at that natural state, it's not even the top, it's just the natural state. When it's at the natural state, then automatically you are in that ultimate state of bliss. Okay, so at that state, not only do you see everything arising as illusion, as temporary existence, but you also see that everything is also arising, is also yourself. So when you see others in pain, you see not only their identity of that's person A or person B, you see them as the vibrational energy that you are in that form. And that, unfortunately, sometimes that form is trapped in that form, and if that form has so much condition, hence the ego, then and unfortunately there's really not much we can really do to help. Even myself, I can't really do much. The only thing we can do is point the way. I'm pointing to the way. This is my version of the way. There's so many other versions, but the pointing to the fact that we are all arising from the same vibrational energy. Every vibrational energy has a beginning and an end, and is cyclic and has oscillations. There's a good, the balance. It has all that. So if that is the nature that all of us, not only me, myself, all the every single particles in this whole universe as itself, if they all govern to that, then that's how it is. And we know, there's always day and night things recurring. All our cells in our body, it's that. And just understanding that makes you feel that, okay, our time in this world as this form, living at this present time is limited. So we enjoy and do what we need to do, even though if it's coming out of your comfort shelf, what is comfort and what is not? Who makes that judgment? Maybe someone else might make that judgment, but your ego will grab that judgment and make it into your identity. But with that ego gone, whatever the judgment is, it just feels like air, just vibrational energy, which is also you. So a good example would be, imagine the ocean. Okay, so you're the ocean. Underneath, you got vast amount of water and the whole oceans, and on the surface you have the waves. Okay, so before awakening, it would be like, there's countless, hundreds of waves going on different, some are high, low waves going on different angles. And before awakening, it was like as if you thought that you were that one wave, that individual wave is you. So if the wave was, you got to be a big wave to support the surface, then you got to be a big wave, or so if you're thinking that your wave and if the wave wasn't going according to plan, then you suffer. But the reality is that the wave eventually goes to the shore and it returns back into the ocean, which is what the wave is actually made out of. So using the same example, ourselves, all of us, that is our true nature. The true nature is that we are all one, and we're all experiencing this beautiful reality, which is also us, because it's all made out of, and it's all rising out of the same vibrational frequency, okay, the energy. So this is it's very deep, and this will take a lot of inner searching, and to really grasp that understanding. But you'll know when you have grasped that understanding, because then you can really be able to be in the present moment. There's a lot of great leaders, spiritual leaders, that has mentioned that the presence is the best, and is the key, and they're right, 100% right. But to be in present is very hard. It's very hard if just to stay in the present without having all these conditions dissolved, the ego dissolved, being in that blissful state. It's very hard because the mind keeps wandering, like if you haven't gone through these steps, to be in present is like nearly impossible. You might be able to be in the present for maybe 5-10 minutes, but as soon as something exciting comes, the mind will just, and the ego will just, like the puppet in the strings I was telling you, will just take you there, and you forgot all about presence. But presence is like also the end goal, to be in present. That's like the end goal, because to get there, you have to, of course, first realize that the whole separation, that I am this and you are that, and this person is that separation, separation of our true nature, understanding that is an illusion. That's the first step of awakening. Then after that, knowing that when everything arises is actually yourself arising, and you're seeing that, and when you see these conditions or these forms arising, you know that it is temporary and it's illusion. So sometimes it's not even worth it to get mingled and stuff. If someone is getting triggered and says all these things, you don't need to do anything, because it's just a temporary thing, and there is no ego for you to even convert that energy into this lower frequency, because you're always at the top. And when you're feeling that unconditional bliss, because it's not conditioned by any events or anything, when you're feeling that, then you can just stay and just stare at a wall and just feel blissful. And at that state, presence will become like your natural way of living in the present. That's a natural way of living. So so there's no need, the mind doesn't need to look for anything excitement, because it's already at its natural state. Looking for that excitement, or looking for that the next high, or these are just illusions, the conditioned illusions that you're going through. But once you're in that state, none of that matters. You're perfectly happy with what you're doing, and not only yourself, but everyone else is perfect the way they are. The whole world, there's nothing. This is all our great. It's like imagine a picture, like a big canvas, and then everyone's putting a little bit of their own thing, and the reality, when you look at this picture, it's amazing, because it's like input of every single one's little contribution, and the world that we see it is not only everyone's contribution, but going deeper, it is all your contribution. It's all of us. It's everything. It's us. So amazing. It's just amazing. It's absolutely amazing. So the awakening really helps you see these illusions, so that way it doesn't lower the frequency. Okay, it doesn't lower the frequency, and you can stay in that higher frequency. You can stay in presence. Now, the best thing about presence is that in presence, everything is you. Like right now, we're in the presence right here. Okay, this wood, the building, myself, you, everything there. This is all arising. Even the materials, like the phone that I'm looking at the moment, they're made out of materials, but the materials are made out of atoms, and eventually came from the same source. This wood from the trees, everything here. That's just, so I wish you could feel what I'm feeling, but this is not anything, it's not an achievement or anything great. This is something that all of us were always from the beginning. Once we had the illusion, and we got into identification, and we're thinking that we're that wave, then we get lost. But once we realize that we're not the wave, we're the ocean, and not only me, but everyone, we're all the oceans, and then we have different forms playing in this beautiful existence. That's what maintains the state of bliss. Maintains the state of bliss. And then it's unwavering, because nothing can really break through. Okay, so this is it's amazing. But please look through my my books, because the books will explain step by step in a much more longer and more detailed way than I can explain over here. But I hope you can feel from myself, like feel what if we do not live in this way, like what are we missing out on? We're missing out on so many things. It's to not live this way is I would say it's we're discriminating ourselves as human beings. This is just amazing. So in the next video, we'll talk about embodying it, because embodying is the difficult part. We talked about this one goes up to realization and awakening, but embodying it into your daily life, so it becomes conditioned. Your condition is the truth. When that becomes so steady, that is the next step. Okay, so until next time, thank you.